Okay, we have 1 minute to go before we commence the 2021 AGM. So there'll always be some people who are late, so that's just par for the course. But if anyone is late, please make sure they don't use the doors which are in the middle or which are on the right-hand side for those coming in. So that means that anyone who comes in through the one door. So we can make sure they all get checked and get their voting cards. Okay. You're all here, yeah. So please, we get ready to start the BSWA 2021 AGM. And, okay, Bill is still there. Bill, if you can stay by the door to be the bouncer, to make sure that only people coming in who are eligible to come in. Excellent. So the staff on the tables, they can be adding up the numbers so to make sure we have a quorum. I think we have a quorum, haven't we? We've got a quorum, good. Okay, so let us begin. Okay. Where's Dennis going now? A microphone, okay. You all going back together?
Hello, everybody. That was very loud. Welcome along to the AGM today. It's good to see so many people here. I think that we probably do have a quorum. We've got a forum, but a quorum. I don't know if we've got numbers yet.
How many, Amanda?
We do have a quorum.
We do?
Yeah, really need to.
Okay.
68. It's less than 68.
So, first of all, in opening, we need to just spell out under our new rules just conflict of interest. Committee members may take the opportunity to declare a previously undeclared conflict of interest regarding any matters relating to the meeting's agenda or any other matters. So, I'm presuming that's all okay. Otherwise, I probably would have heard of it, I think. And item 1.2 is we just acknowledge the traditional inhabitants, the traditional owners of the land. We have decided just to do this little gesture as a mark of respect to the Aboriginal community that was here before we came. So we're just doing that now at each annual general meeting. So item 1.3 is homage to the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, and taking of the 5 precepts and a short meditation. So I'm thinking that Ajahn Brahm is probably going to run that.
Yes, let's do it quickly. So I will do the Buddhang Savanang Gacchami, and you please say afterwards. We'd start with the Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Please repeat. Buddhang Savanang Gacchami. Dhammang Savanang Gacchami. Sanghang Savanang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang Savanang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang Savanang Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang Savanang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang Savanang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang Savanang Gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang Savanang Gacchami. That completes the 3 refuges. I'll now give the 5 precepts. Parnati Pata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Kame Sumichachara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Sura Mera Yama Japamatatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Imani Panchasikhapadani Silena Sugatinganti Silena Bhoga Sampada Silena Nibutinganti Tasma Silang Visodaye. Okay, now we'll just do a very short meditation. So if you like to make yourself comfortable on your chairs or on the floor, wherever you are, close your eyes and just relax your body with kindness. Start kindness on our own body. So may your body be free from tension, free from inflammation by relaxing parts which hurt, comfortable, at ease. And imagine you're like this very caring mother looking after your own body, really wanting it to be at peace, happy, relaxed. And spread the same loving kindness to all the people in this room today, all people giving up their Saturday afternoons for this higher cause, to make sure our Buddhist Society of Western Australia, with all its monasteries and hermitages, male and female, all the retreat centres and city centres, and all the work we do by sending these talks and information out throughout the whole world. All the people who make this possible, which is you. May we all be at peace, happy and well. Recognizing the sacrifice which people do, and rejoicing in those who are willing to make that sacrifice, able to make that sacrifice for next year, on the committees and volunteers and supporters and the monks and nuns as well, who make sacrifices. And the gratitude for those who are leaving our committee this year, who work so hard. And as spiritual director, you cannot praise them enough. Brilliant jobs they've all done. And if you knew just the amount of time they've been working extra, late into the night, weekends, evenings, to make sure that everything is done properly. It's an incredible Buddhist society. Best in the world. And I've travelled the world. And you feel this great sense of joy. And you put that joy into your own body and mind. You make the best use of the good karma we make by relaxing and allowing the mind to be still. Once the mind is peaceful, we get into a good place for a committee meeting. Let all the past or the future disappear. And be still. This is only a short meditation. So when the body and the mind are relaxed, then we can come out of our meditation and to serve in the best way we can for this AGM of this brilliant Society of Western Australia, the BSWA. Thank you. Please open your eyes now and we can continue on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ajahn Brahm. So I just wanted to confirm again that we do have a quorum. I'm just following the procedures here, so that's all okay, Amanda?
Is 68? Yeah.
Very good. And so is there any apologies for today? I have one apology from Rachel Green. Any other apologies? Okay, so confirmation of the 2020 AGM minutes. So I don't know how many people have actually seen those minutes, so it may be up to some of us up the front here to perhaps do that, unless anybody has seen it in the past minutes and are happy with the... Anyway, I'm looking for a motion to accept the previous... Bill. What a wonderful man you are, Bill. Moved Bill Prins, seconded...
Ananda.
Who's that there?
Ananda.
That's Ananda. Oh, sorry, Ananda.
Yeah.
Look, I apologise to everybody from the side. I really can't see your face. You've got a beautiful profile. I can see the shape of your body. Very, very lovely there, Ananda, but I'm glad that it's you that seconded. Thank you very much. So we've got a mover and a seconder for the motion. Is Ajahn Brahm happy with that?
Yes, I'm very happy with that.
I'd like to show of hands or show of
Cards, yes. Cards up, if you remember.
To show your approval. Is there anyone against?
No against.
Any abstentions? The motion's passed.
Good.
So, moving on to the reports and the adoption thereof. So, first of all, the first report I know is going to be a very brief one from Ajahn Brahm for the spiritual director.
So have it on the board there, but it's just basically everything is going so well in our Buddhist Society of Western Australia, which is amazing, even during the COVID time. I think many of you have seen the reports not the reports, but all those incredible talks which the young monks and the nuns have been given on YouTube, and they've been so well received. But just the full report in the 6 months since the previous AGM, only 6 months ago we had our AGM in September of last year because of COVID. Two full monks have been ordained as well as one novice monk, one junior monk disrobed because of illness. So we still, even at this time, made a profit. An extra monk and an extra novice. Work has begun on the 6 fireproof kutis on Hermit's Hill, part of Bodhinyana Monastery, having finally successfully negotiated a building license, which took over 7 years to get a building license. The brick walls of the huts are complete. We hope to have the huts ready to live in before the start of this year's range retreat. The newly constructed office building in Bodhinyana had one of its rooms transformed into a studio from where we can live stream talks internationally as well as nationally. That's helped out a lot. We got fibre optic connection there, and it's going really, really well. Or we can participate in committee meetings with many organisations which our monks support. We've not travelled internationally over the past 6 months. We have still given many talks and led many retreats in UK, Europe, USA, Malaysia, Singapore and Hong Kong. So it's almost like business as usual, except that we don't travel. This has kept us in touch with a large international group of followers. Our monk in Albany, Venerable Muda, has continued to develop a large support base in the great southern region of WA and has now been joined with a second monk, Venerable Niwato. They have worked hard on the water supply and the fire breaks of their beautiful residence. Still, it's not a monastery yet because you need to make it into a place of religious worship. And the zoning is not there yet, but the zoning is happening any time now. And soon we can make sure that's a nice monastery. Hopefully, but it's not yet. Ajahn Santuti and Ajahn JR worked hard rebuilding what was once a rundown stable for horses into a beautiful 4-bedroom vihara for monks. The work was completed in mid-March. They have now taken up residence therein. That's in 48 Stocker Road in Roleystone. In spite of the restrictions generated by the COVID pandemic, we were still able to hold our Katina ceremony, a royal Katina ceremony over at Bodhinyana, and also hold many retreats at China Grove, but mostly for Western Australians. Unfortunately, Ajahn Apichatto's father died in early 2021, and so he's now over in his father's home, or ex-home, in New South Wales, just making sure that everything is organised. He wants to find his mother a care home here in Western Australia. Mm-hmm. And the Ajahn Api, and the hard-working senior monks, that's settled. Even though there has been no international travel, all the monks have worked hard serving the various duties of monastics, many of which lay community do not see. Our Sangha is growing, the monastic residents are growing, and the outreach with talks and books and traditional Buddhist services is also growing. All is well. The only thing which is not growing is my tummy. It's stabilised at this side, so I'm not gaining weight, I'm not losing weight. Okay, so that's just for the monasteries which I look after. And Jada Grove, I mentioned that, is just very stable and well looked after. And our nuns' monastery, Gitchiganup, there's some interesting things happening there. Can I just mention that? How many new monks, nuns now?
Actually, we have a maximum space already 19, and one nun left for her. So we can only take in 2 more. There's 2 more is coming in for 3 months. There's a layperson, then Anagarikas. So then, fortunately, we have a branch monastery. Then we can take in more.
So we have a full house, 19 nuns or brownies.
We have 10 bhikkhunis, 6 samaneris, and 3 anagarikas, in total 19.
And one anagarika is going to ordain tomorrow.
So yes, that's why now we have the maximum of 19. But our maximum space is 21, so now 19, so it's already full, and then 2 more coming in. So if without branch monastery, we can't take any more, it's full. Because people want to come in, they can't take them. I haven't got space for them. So, and Ajahn Brahm want to announce that or something? We think
Yes, there's a very good monastery over in New South Wales in Bundanoon called Santi Forest Monastery. And a person who started that years ago when she was still a layperson is now called Venerable Nirodha. She's over in Ajahn Gunhouse Monasteries in Thailand, and she contacts us very often. She's in very good shape for her age, which is amazing. But anyway, that monastery has been through many hands, and now it's been offered to the bhikkhunis at Dhammasara. So we have bhikkhunis from there. We're going to slowly just look after it, make sure it's built to the standards which our BSWA expect, which is not that high. But anyway, it's wonderful to see even the bhikkhuni Sangha growing. And that's unprecedented. In COVID time, it's still growing and growing and growing. It's amazing. So well done, Venerable Hasapanya. I'll give a round of applause. Come on. So her full report is actually on there. You can see it later.
Is there any questions for Ajahn Brahm or Ajahn Hasapanna?
Yeah, we have one. Okay. Hey, Barbara.
We are still waiting to have a non-public talk maybe on Friday night. We know it's not going to be every week, but yes.
We do have a nun come and give a talk on Friday night. Hasapanya.
Even if it's a half an hour talk,
Half
we
an
want to see the nuns more often in Perth, please, at the temple here.
coming soon.
How soon is soon?
So depends on individual perception how soon is soon. So how you interpret it.
I think you should be in politics. Okay.
Very good.
But it's true. I mean, how many of you want to see more bhikkhunis sitting here teaching? Look at that. See? Very good. Excellent. Oh, so me too.
Thank you very much, Ajahn Brahm and Ajahn Hasapanna. So moving on to the next item, which is the President's report. Now, I'm a little bit sort of, bewildered a little bit because last night Ajahn Brahm was chiding me about sort of being long-winded in my reports and so on, and sort of skiting about how kind of succinct and to the point his was. But let me just say that when I'm making this report here today, it is only 3 pages or 3 and a bit pages, except that I've got it printed large. But it gives me great joy doing it. The best job that I have, I reckon, I've had over the last 3 years as president really is when I sit here speaking about what's happened at this society and being able to sort of acknowledge all of the people that look after our society. And I really do hope that, as you're listening to this, we can all sort of develop that medito and be able to enjoy and really celebrate with sympathetic joy the wonderful experience that everybody that works so hard for this society, as Ajahn Brahm is saying there, to so that sort of fills your heart the same as it does for mine, because I really do I just love it when I kind of think about this. I've got some charts that I've put up on the walls over here, just giving an indication of just where the depth of everything in our society goes to, and you're very welcome to look at those afterwards. And to that extent that I have shortened my report a little bit, but so I know I'll just read from what I've said here. So it's just 5 months since the last AGM, so I'll try to keep this report as concise as possible because most of the information presented in the report last October is still relatively current. But first, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the wisdom and the pleasure that I have received from this society over the years, both as an ordinary member and by serving on its committee. My role as president over the past 3 years has been wonderful. It has given me the chance to work with exceptional people, including Ajahn Brahm. And I'm incredibly grateful for his friendship and guidance. And I am in awe of his dedication to the Dharma.
Yes.
And
Nothing
I've
else to
noticed
do.
too that what you notice when you're sitting in my position watching Ajahn Brahm is that every moment of his life is Dharma. It really is. It's quite special to see. So, being a long-standing member of the Society, it gives me a beautiful view of its history. And I first started attending in the mid to late 70s, coming here. And over those years, I've really fallen in love with the BSWA. And I look back to the founders of the BSWA, some now dead and gone, but there is someone special that is still here today, and she is Lynn Jackson. She's a modern-day matriarch who, along with some other members of the time, decided on how the structure of this society should be and where its influences should come from. I remember the various inputs as we were trying to decide which way and how the society would grow. We had visiting teachers from all the traditions, Mahayana, Zen, and, of course, Theravadan. And once the house in North Perth was purchased, and that was, I just wanted to make a note here in brackets that I've got here, a big step helped along by Warren Smales, who died just over a year ago now, I think, and his wife Karen, who put their house on the line so that we could get a mortgage. They used their house as collateral for our society. We started to deepen and solidify towards a Theravadan structure, and I can remember Prakanti Polo, now Lawrence, he's still at large in Australia somewhere, coming over from Sydney to spend extended times with us for retreats, teachings and working bees. And I still can remember him up the ladder, as I'm sure people that were there with me at the time can remember him, up the ladder nailing a Dharma wheel onto the gable of the house, the front gable of the house. So the BSWA decided to send Lynn with a delegation representing us to travel to Thailand and ask Ajahn Chah, by now quite a famous monk in Theravadan circles, if he would be so kind as to send monks to help our society grow. He agreed. And from that moment on, we've had a clear vision and a constitution setting out a pathway for which we wanted the society to grow. Building a monastery for monks and nuns was our number one priority. Today, the BSWA is a wonderful reflection of how the Buddha saw the Dharma operating inside a society. The Buddha, that is, had said to Mara, the tempter, that he would not die until the 4 pillars of Buddhism were in place. The order of ordained monks, the order of ordained nuns, the order of ordained laymen, and the order of committed laymen, and the order of committed laywomen. He made suggestions as to where the monasteries should be located and how the 4 pillars should interact. He made it very clear that the relationship should be symbiotic, that the monks were to be totally dependent on the lay people, and that meant that the lay people in return would receive the teachings and the wisdom that comes from the perspective found in the monastic settings. For the lay people to support the monks and the nuns fully, he suggested monasteries not be too far away that lay people could not attend to them, and not so close that they lose their silent hermitage ambience. The Buddhist society, I think, has fulfilled these requirements perfectly, and our system works very well indeed, as Ajahn Brahm has been mentioning. This society is a model for the whole world to follow. Our constitution is balanced to allow equalised authority through the 4 pillars. The growth of our Buddhist society and its associated monasteries and venues had put a significant burden on the committee over the years. I'm sort of thinking back now 2 or 3 years ago. And so the significant burden placed on the committee and the executive charged to look after its affairs. It became inevitable that we would need to professionalise our operation by bringing in paid expert help to keep us in touch with the ever-growing regulation and to be lawful in order to live up to the duties and responsibilities that are expected of us. So to this end, we've employed Stephen Connell, who's sitting over there. Those of you who haven't met, I'm sure you've all met Stephen by now, as our operations manager for our society. And he's now been with us for a year. He has transformed the way our society does its business and has brought relief and what had been relief to what had been a stressed committee. The future looks even more bright. We are now meeting our responsibilities fully under the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profits Commission, the ACNC, by having in place rules surrounding what we have called Project Accord. Now that Stephen is more free, because he's completed most of that work, we are looking to expand our outreach further as we continue to grow the Dharma. As mentioned in my last report, we have set up a strategy group to help provide an outline for the society to grow and flourish. To that end, this group is made up with the presence of Peter Smith, who's sitting over there next to Medigi, Sol Hanna, Vicky McClafferty, Nicolette Binns, together with Venerable Medigi. Together they have provided a strategy plan for the next 5 years. The new committee will have the benefit of their excellent work to plan what the society needs to do to support and encourage our membership, especially around the Dhammaloka precinct. These ideas are not new and have been around for some years, but I believe they are becoming more urgent if we are to address the socialisation, cohesiveness and development of our Dhammaloka community, especially in bringing, this is important too I think, especially in bringing Western people into the fold. Traditional Buddhist communities generally know how our community works and how to celebrate its virtues. The proposed Dhammaloka project needs to have a dedicated working group to assess what we actually need and want. The strategy paper sets out a procedure to do this. The rough idea and plan proposes an idea to open up the library to the courtyard and to add a new toilet block at the back of the undercover courtyard. This allows us to remove the existing toilets behind the community hall kitchen to allow a new expanded commercial kitchen. A guide plan that I have drawn sets this out, and it also shows the community hall extended into the stage area, with the stage area located into the 4-metre setback area on the side of the hall. This allows for a better flow and an opportunity to open up the southern wall into the courtyard to make the stage visible from there. This opens the community hall to the courtyard and allows an idea to build a coffee pavilion or something of that sort at the front beside the bow tree. And I estimate that the cost to do that would be roughly around $600,000. There's also plans to open up Dhammaloka more during the week, both to offer service and teach the Dharma. We currently have a midweek meditation happening on Wednesday evenings. As mentioned last time, we have opened a care group listening line at the back of our house at number 37 Milford Way, adjacent to the centre. Members have been trained in listening skills and are making themselves available to listen to anyone who may wish to call and discuss any traumas or troubles that they may have. The lines are open Wednesdays, Thursdays and Saturday evenings or nights from 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock. And there's also plans to extend the service to our community in other areas as the needs arise. Chaplaincy work is also being looked at with possible plans to provide Buddhist chaplains to the various government institutions. This year is Ajahn Brahm's 70th birthday, with a big celebration planned with fundraising for several of the projects he is involved with as spiritual director of many organisations. And you can notice that on the charts that I put there too, just the vast amounts of people that he ministers to. The extent of this work is prodigious, and I've already said that, that benefit from Ajahn Brahm's ministry is shown there. Often this work goes unseen by our membership and is literally quite profound, and it is literally quite profound. The BSWA provides a very powerful base for all of these activities to succeed. There is a team headed by Anusha that will be planning the event, and we look forward to a highly successful day in August. I would also like to mention the large workload taken on by our monasteries, as Ajahn Brahm has already done, and the very beautiful Dhammasara Monastery has expanded its accommodation, and the Bodhinyana Monastery has the Herman Hill project ongoing with more accommodation, etc. And they also have a new office and an internet building. The Kusala monks in Kelmscott have now moved into their new premises, a very beautiful conversion of what was once a stable. And Venerable Mudu at Bodhinyana Great Southern is gradually building a community with lots of work improving access to the monastery hermitage there. This past year or so has presented many challenges for our society. COVID has caused many things to change. As mentioned in my report 5 months ago, the BSWA has managed the problem well with the use of live streaming and Zoom meetings. The committee and our Sangha have managed amazingly well, with the upshot being that we have probably delivered Dharma in a way more full than before, and this process is ongoing. New members of the committee for the past short term are Ksenia, sitting next to me here, Ksenia Abu Saif as Vice President, Natalie Marr as the Treasurer, and Linda Maguire in the middle as our Secretary. All who have joined with myself and Ajahn Brahm to make up the executive. Doris Geoffrey, Garciong Lam and Paul Firth joined the committee then, and as was mentioned last time, all these members did a wonderful job in helping Stephen prepare documentations and policies required by the ACNC over that entire term, even before they were brought onto the committee, or that we had the AGM to bring them onto the committee. So special mention is made here of the work on Project Accord done in the Treasury by our current Treasurer Natalie, with Boone too. She has, Boone, who was still the Treasurer then, along with the still current Treasury team. They have swapped the operating software and completed the enormous task of documenting it all. So this is the operating software for our accounts. It's been quite a huge job. Members that stayed on the committee from last year were G2 Fu as Assistant Treasurer, Tony Wijara as Webmaster, Lucky Kodi Waku, sorry Lucky, looking after membership, and Bill Prins, ever faithful and all-round member who heads the Dhammaloka subcommittee and looks after the events and security. The committee is also populated by a monastic representation in the form of Spiritual Director and Assistant Spiritual Director, and we have been blessed in having Ajahn Brahm and Ajahn Hasapana filling those roles. Wonderful to sit in meetings with all of those people present. But we also have had the bonus of Ajahn Brahmali's attendance to assist Ajahn Brahm over the past year, and that's been wonderful as well. The committee have been considering some recommendations from the strategy group that go to good management and decision making, and we have decided to institute a line management strategy from the now fully implemented subcommittees through to the five executive members, including Ajahn Brahm. So each one of those five executive members will be aligned, at the end of the line management process. So each subcommittee will have a budget and a spending limit overseen by line management through to the executive, all overseen by the committee. We are hopeful that this procedure will make our operation more efficient and less stressful. There are subcommittees for Bodhinyana, Dhammasara, Dhammaloka, Jhana Grove, the Broadcasting Web and AV, and the Spiritual Education Group, which is a new group, which includes the care group and lay teachers. Our operations manager has guidance and duty of care involvement with all of them. You can have a look at the charts for the details of those. The operations manager also advises on the 77 policy documents that have been written and are now in place under the ACNC's Project Accord. 42 of those documents, incidentally, were policy documents that related to our financial management guide. So absolutely prodigious amount of work actually has gone into that, and big thanks to Venerable Metaji for standing at the back of all that and giving us the right guidance for it to happen. Stephen also oversees the operations of administration, library and treasury. And thanks to our staff Ronnie Chin and Mudu Wiji Bandera in treasury, Amanda Hunter, our administrator, along with Cherry Dack Jackson and Nicholas Allett. And then there is also Manel Fernando and the whole library team who do a huge job in the library. Lynn Jackson is our female caretaker who has given years of great service to our BSWA. And as mentioned, she has been here right from the beginning. Nicholas Allett is our male caretaker. He is now a bit of a fixture around the place here. He's been here for quite some years, with many years of service. He is a gentleman. And I think everybody would agree with me that. He's a wonderful man. And we're so lucky to have him at our centre. Christina Yu and Scotty Irma are the caretakers at Jana Grove, and they do a fantastic job for us there. And the chart will show the Jana Grove structure as well. Vicky McClafferty, a wonderful member, has once again produced a brilliant monthly edition of the BSWA e-News Bulletin on time every month, giving us all details of upcoming events and news from all of our monasteries and centres. Now, this bulletin goes to our membership to upwards of 1,700 computers every month. Nicholas Allett, sitting in front of me here, has continued to produce the Society's Enlightened Times each quarter with deeper articles and news. Once again this year I have posted organisational charts of the BSWA, and it sets out the vast structure of BSWA and how it works to balance the monastic and lay side of our organisation. The volunteers listed are by no means a complete audit. We have tried to capture the main body of volunteers, but it may need some update. So if you see that on the charts, please let either Lucky or myself know, and especially if you see any glaring omissions that are there. Lucky continues, of course, to look after our ever-increasing membership list and continues to be a point of communication for our members near and far. Lucky also organises teams of volunteers to look after reception and all sorts of membership issues. The committee is also served by Anusha, a never-ending source of energy for the Kalyana Mitta group and beyond to the social activities that she organises. She works, I've got here sort of, because is Anusha here today? She's not here. Well, I can maybe talk about her. I won't. But Anusha's one of these wild spirits. She's very difficult to get I've told her this anyway, very difficult to get a harness on. So we just let her go because she just does wonderful work. Wonderful work. It's pretty hard to get a report from her or some kind of connection back to the committee. So unofficially, she is the community coordinator, and as mentioned, she has a big job in train because she's working to organise Ajahn Brahm's birthday. Andrew McDougall looks after the team arranging prisons and pastoral visits, along with meditation classes inside jails. He's got a team that works in with that. He and his team are noted on the chart. And then there's also Cecilia, who last year stepped down as president of the Australian Buddhist Council after doing an enormously big job there. But she acts as our external affair operative and is a legal sounding board for our committee. She, with Boone, is also helping to set up the chaplaincy program. So I'd also just like to mention too another one of our members, Veronica, who is now a volunteer chaplain for us at Curtin University. And then there is Sol Hanna and his teams of people who look after the huge IT and streaming side of our organisation. So this includes all our audio-visual requirements that are now headed up by Jake Mitra, who's here today at the back. Jake has actually streamlined our AV and the live streaming capacity that we have. It's really a pleasure to have him here because he just knows so much stuff. Our Sunday school has been closed for a period over the worst of the COVID crisis. However, Lee Chan, along with her dedicated group of teachers, now has it back on track. At its peak, there are a couple of hundred students that attend, and a big thanks to everybody involved there. Thanks too to the folk looking after the Armidale group, shown on the chart, and once again Sol, who is looking after an affiliate group in Busselton, Margaret River, this group is called Bambi, and they are now sort of connected officially to the Buddhist Society. They have their own account into Treasury. Long-standing member Bianca DeBow is still active, doing many things for our society. I guess she's here somewhere, Bianca. Things for our society from looking after our lay teaching program for the beginners, and cooking and stitching cushions, which she has done for so many years, and even back when Ron was here, organising all those stools. I think the stools now are done by Jeff Webb, I think. I do also want to mention the mainly Thai ladies who look after the community hall, and Sompop Kamarikurd, who looks after our centre, the monks and all of the nuns so well. In conclusion, I would like to encourage lay members of our society to join in giving service and to know that the possibility of realising the teachings of the Buddha in a deep way is real. Some may think that the real work of Dharma is only to be realised if you are a monk or a nun, but this could not be further from the truth. Each one of us, monk, nun, layman or laywomen, we all need to realise the Buddha's teachings for ourselves. A monk or a nun cannot do it for you. They can only point the way, and our monastics are very skilled at doing this. The Buddha set the 4 pillars of Buddhism in place for us all. His teachings are not exclusive. Doing service for the community is a great way to deepen and understand our practice. As the clarity we derive from the stillness in our mind is absorbed, we start to see what is apparent together with what is transcendent. The Buddha's truth is there for us all to see, right there in the heart of the present moment. Do the work and develop confidence in your practice. See the world with its dukkha for what it is. When you are close to the BSWA, it will be beneficial. This is the power of the Buddha's insight in building the 4 pillars. You will see that service to its cause will gradually loosen the grasp we have on the world, and the right view will manifest. The Dharma is for us all, monks, nuns, laymen and laywomen. So I commend this report to the meeting. Thank you. So if there's any questions at all from the floor about the activities of the Buddhist Society? Yes, Stephen.
So not so much a question as just a correction, and wanted to recognize the Treasury for all their work in the financial policies. That was the bulk of what they've done, and really wanted to thank everything that they've done. And thank you, Dennis, for your years of service.
Okay, so we're moving on to item 3.3 now. So the Honourable Treasurer will now take the microphone.
Hi, bear with me if I cough. I don't have COVID. The audit was conducted by Dry Cokeness for the calendar year 2020 financials and internal controls. Do we need to display it on the screen? Oh, okay. Oh, is that not working? Oh. Can you hear me? Oh, I can hear myself. Okay. Okay, the audit was conducted by Dry Cokeness for the calendar year 2020 financials and internal controls. The audit was conducted on 3rd to the 5th of February 2021, right in the middle of the lockdown due to a positive community case of COVID-19. The audit was conducted online and caused the audit to be delayed and prolonged. I would like to thank Ronnie, Madhu and the rest of the Treasury team in working tirelessly to assist the auditors. It was exhausting, but we got there. Probably worse than where, but we got there. From the audit, Dry Kirkness noted some performance improvements observations. These relate to 4 items. The first one, a variance between the fixed asset module and general ledger arose in the audit. This will be investigated and resolved in 2021 with a yearly reconciliation to be conducted in future. Accrual of a small amount of annual leave taken, not calculating correctly in MYOB Advance. This will be resolved in the MYOB Advance system improvements in 2021, and it's endorsed by the committee. Some reported sales not being picked up in the MYOB Advance system generated BAS report. This has resulted in BSWA over-reporting on its revenue by approximately 208K. BSWA will submit an amended BAS for the 4 quarters and will make immediate contact with ATO. The figure for revenue in the accounts presented is correct, so that's all good. BSWA is likely need to make a repayment for an ineligible JobKeeper claim. The committee endorses the voluntary repayment to the ATO of any incorrect job seeker payments. BSWA end of year result for 2020 was a surplus of 702K. This is amazing considering a lot of businesses and charities out there are seeing a decline due to the pandemic. And it's largely due to the donations income received by generous donors, followed by royalties from Arjun Brahm's books. Cash assets have increased by 778K. That's largely related to the increase in donations. The balance sheet looks very healthy. The achievements between the last 6 months are the financial management practice manual, which commenced through Project Accord, and to meet the AC&C is almost complete. There's just one more that needs to be approved in the next committee meeting with the new committee. Continuing in supporting the monasteries and hermitages, completing the 2020 audit online for the first time in history, I think. The Treasury team helping out at Dharmasara, visiting Venerable Ananda at Bodhinyana to talk accounts, going to Kusala Hermitage to assist with the renovations at the stables, and to discuss accounts, and to Bodhinyana Great Southern to visit Venerable Mudu to provide assistance, although there was a glitch in the plan when 3 of us could not go last minute. Luckily, the trip continued with Venerable Ananda making the trip with Boone and Ronnie and her family, and it was a success, and I regret not being able to go. The people to thank in Treasury team, I would like to thank with much gratitude to Ronnie and Madhu and the rest of the Treasury team. I thank you for your patience, your humility and your hard work. You make me proud to be working in the Treasury team. Taivo and the team, that's Hui Sui, sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly, Chen Sanyap and Jerwan for continuing the volunteering in doing the weekly banking and BSWA donations. Tai also helps with a number of handyman works at BSWA. He's always smiling when I see him on Saturdays, and it's infectious. Makes me smile. Boone Tan and Pauline Swan for providing valuable guidance and support to me and the Treasury team as and when we need. Jeffrey Tan and now Lim Eka Satyawan for volunteering in processing refund retreats. I'd like to thank all the volunteers, including the volunteers that I've met through my short time as Treasurer. This includes Manel, Hui Cheng, Pei, and all the library volunteers, Lucky, Cherry, Chet, Bill, Eddie, the Thai group and the Sri Lankan group, committee members, Amanda, Stephen, Nick and Lynn. Much matter to you all. BSW wouldn't be the same without you. Lastly, I'd like to thank Arjun Brahm, Arjun Hasapanya, Arjun Santuti and Jayar Venerable Metaji, Venerable Mudu, Venerable Jotika, Venerable Nanda, and the rest of the nuns and monks at Dhammasara and Bodhinyana. You helped make the treasurer role a joy to be in, and thank you very much, with much gratitude and kindness you have shown me. And if I forgot anyone, I apologize.
Has anybody got any questions for the treasurer? Yes, Amanda?
No, I'm saying this is a lighter note, just to lighten the. On page 5 of financial statements, you can see, had a quick look now. Last year, travel and visiting monks expense 62,000. This year, it is a gain of 118. So the COVID-19 has brought in about $62,000 to the coffers of the Buddhist society. Who said COVID-19 is no good? Just a light note.
Thank you.
And may I ask a question to the please? Employee benefits about from 80,000 to about 206,000. Is that 1 year's incurred expenditure, or are there any additional accruals on that figure? On page 5 again. Previous year. Sorry,
okay.
Natalie. And previous year, I think 80,000 Boon. Probably you might be able to help. And employee benefits past year on page 5, item number 3, 206,000. It's an increase of about, what shall I say, little over 200% increase. So 80 to 206,000. So you may not have the details, but I just thought for the next committee to have a quick look at that. You may not have details at your fingertips.
Mainly, can you hear me? Oh.
Yeah.
It mainly relates to the operations manager, increase in hours, the admin staff as well, and also the associated superannuation and things like that. So I don't know the details, but that's the main.
That I thought could be the reason. Yeah. And it's about, what shall I say, 126,000 approximately, an increase. Last year's 80,000. I'm not expecting answers, but probably for the incoming committee to have a look at that. And
okay.
Yeah, that's all I'm highlighting.
Can help explain then what actually happens in 2019. Stephen has not worked full year yet. It's only for a few months, so that's why the dollar is actually quite low. But comes 2020 is actually full amount of the year.
Yes, no, well, so is there there's no more questions for the treasurer? Can I have a motion from the floor, please, accepting the treasurer's report? Ananda is moving, seconded. Ananda and Hock Chin. Very auspicious. So, Ajahn Brahm, are you happy with this motion? Okay. Okay, so all those in favour, if you hold your red cards up, of accepting the Treasurer's report as presented? Thank you. Anyone against? No one is against. Any abstentions? Okay, so the motion is accepted. Thank you very much, Natalie. It's been quite a trial actually for Natalie over the last little while because of the the trouble that we've had just in getting this dry Kirkness report and the audit sort of finished because of the COVID things and sort of working from home and all of the stuff like that. So I know that it's been a bit of a trial. But the Treasury team have come through with flying colours. So moving on to item, let me see, item 3.4, we've got the membership report from the membership secretary, Lucky. So Lucky, if you'd like to come forward. And
membership report for
have you got a microphone there, Lucky?
the membership report for the AGM of 2021. The membership report submitted today is for the period March 2020 to March 2021. The COVID pandemic made 2020 a difficult year for many. Given the impact, Buddhist Society made the decision to postpone our annual general meeting from March 2020 to September 2020. With all the challenges of 2020, Buddhist Society and our Sangha continued their invaluable services. Special focus was on our online platform, as this was often the only way to access Buddhist Society and the teachings and talks. Our resources and teachings were much sought after, especially in times of isolation and lockdown, where many were seeking strength, solace, and comfort. This focus resulted in more supporters subscribing as members. The success of our online offerings is largely due to our dedicated IT and online services team, all who are volunteers. For this, we express our immense gratitude. Buddhist Society expects an increase in member numbers this year to coincide with Ajahn Brahm's 70th birthday on 7th August 2021, given the respect and reverence by which he is held. Buddhist Society is grateful for all the understanding and support shown by members. According to the Treasury, our valued members continued their financial support by contributing much needed revenue of 67,195 over this period, March 2020 to March 2021. We are glad to report the financial membership for the 12 months of March 2020 at 1,526 members, including youth. 1,076 are full members and 408 associate members. It is very pleasing to note that we have 42 youth members, given they are the future of Buddhist society. Honorary members number 6, members paid for lifetime stand at 415. Our overseas member numbers are 411, encompassing 45 countries. We are proud to have spread the Dhamma across the globe from Asia, Europe, the Middle East to North and Latin America. It is with great sorrow we remember our valued long-term members who passed away during this period. Special mention goes to Hugh Sykes, who passed away in January this year. We wish to thank each and every member for their continued support of the Buddhist Society with membership. We also thank the team of volunteers whose generous contribution in terms of time and effort have been invaluable. Nick Ellis' role, especially during the time of lockdown, is much appreciated. Dhamma discussion sessions conducted by senior lay Buddhist members are a recent addition to the volunteer programs. 2 such courses that have been well received are the monthly Q&A and the basic teachings of Buddhism to new preceptors. Buddhist society depends on your generous contributions to continue spreading the teaching of the Buddha and supports the good work of the Sangha led by Ajahn Brahm. On behalf of Buddhist society, we thank you for the support shown in these especially difficult times.
Does anybody have a question for Lucky? If not, I would appreciate for somebody to move that the membership report be accepted. Bill Prins, is that Bill up the back again? And seconder? Doria, right in front, Doria. Okay, so again, Ajahn Brahm, first of all.
Yes, I agree.
All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? So the motion is carried. So the membership report is accepted. Thank you very much, Lucky. So moving on to the next item. So, well, I'll just read and make this statement here that the following reports are not going to be verbally presented at the AGM. These reports can be viewed online, and the reports will be sent out separately. So that's the report for the Assistant Spiritual Director, Ajahn Hasapana, the Operations Manager report by Stephen Connell, the Information Technology report by Tony Wajaja, the Armidale Meditation Group report by Marlene Gerritsen, the Dhammaloka Subcommittee report by Bill Prins, and the Broadcasting Management Subcommittee's report, which I presume will come from Sol. So that, I think, takes care of the reports, which brings us on to item 4, which is the election of office bearers and committee members. And I think I'm kind of right in saying for this first part of the of this procedure, I can really just because there's been only one nomination, and all very good nominations for them all too, I might say, that I can probably just announce who the person holding the position will be. I guess that's okay, just looking over at Stephen and Ajahn and Venerable Mitaji. If I'm okay just to do that, aren't I? Yes? Very good. So, the new president will be Hock Chin T. Would you like to stand up, Hock Chin, and here he is over here. Wonderful that we've had Hock Chin put his hand up to do this job, and yeah, we look forward to great things from him, and certainly from my point of view, I wish him very well. The Vice President is Ksenia. She's remaining in this position. The Secretary is Linda Maguire. And the Treasurer is Peter Hong. Here he is standing up here. So that's really quite a balanced executive there. I was just looking at the three ladies sitting here and looking over to Ajahn Brahm, who might have been a male amongst the many females that we have here on the executive. But anyway, Peter is there to balance that out. So the Assistant Secretary is, I'll just get this under the light for myself, Garciong Lam. Would you like to stand up, Garciong? Garcion's been a wonderful member over the last little while. He's a prodigious worker for us, really, and done some wonderful things. He's actually done a very, very good report that's sort of sets out like the ways of strategies, and certainly looking at this Buddhist centre too, and some strategies around maybe what even we might do with the Dhammaloka centre. So his report is really very interesting to look at, and he really just did it as something that you might want to do, and it was really quite wonderful. So you can see that from just ask Stephen about that, and Stephen will let you know about it. So now we're moving on to the ordinary members of the committee. So we have, again, looking after the IT services again, we have Tony Wajaja. And then, of course, ordinary member looking after events and security, and also the Dhammaloka subcommittee, Bill Prinz. And ordinary member just for membership is Lucky Kadomski. Thank you, Lucky. And an ordinary member for the committee is Paul Firth. Good on you, Paul. Welcome along again. And another ordinary committee member is Fong Triong. Not here today? Okay.
Must be working.
Okay, so that brings us on to the next item, which is really an item that we need to vote on, and this is really a vote for the Assistant Treasurer. And I would like to say, I don't know if you want to just say something about that, Ajahn Brahman, which...
No, I think it'll be a bit of a conflict of interest.
All right.
Yeah, I better not do anything.
All right.
If I just say that someone is preferable, there's too many people who.
Oh well, I wasn't necessarily thinking of you doing. I just wanted to let the members know though that both of these contenders, whichever one wins, it's fine. Will be the Assistant Treasurer, but. We were intending, hopefully, to co-opt whoever was unsuccessful on too, because the Treasury is just an enormous task. It's just, like just watching Natalie and Boone sort of work over the last little while, sort of getting all of these accounts ready. This society is really now a big organisation. It's a big turnover. Ajahn Brahm causes us a lot of work, really, because he brings in too much money.
Yeah, sorry.
That's not really true, though. I shouldn't really say it. I shouldn't be flippant like that either, because...
Because you're kind of resigning now, so it's okay.
So, at any rate, the thing is that we would love to have both of these people come onto the Treasury, but we'll need to vote, though, because that's what the Constitution says. So, have we got something planned for that, Stephen? Are we just going to... Are we doing it secretly, or are we going to just do it with cards?
I know that. Are they here? I know V is not here today. Oh, she is. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Come to the front so people can see you. You're always just hiding in the corner. That's Vivara.
Can you do that?
Can you say something about yourself so people know who you are? Can get a microphone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ajahn. I was born, and I might be repeating if you had a chance to read the website. So if I'm repeating what you've already read, I do apologise. So I was born and bred in Perth. So I've witnessed, I've associated, and I've been encouraged by the Sangha at Serpentine at Nallamara, led by... of course, Ajahn Brahm. Just being asked to nominate was a privilege. Thank you very much. And I'd be happy to assist the Sangha and the committee in another capacity if I was voted. I did finish my Masters of Professional Accounting last year, so if anyone's wondering about my skills. And just thank you for your time. Thank you. apologies. With what Kunabut, most people easier as well. Viv or V, maybe that helps there. But official name Viv Kunabut on the nomination there. Thank you.
And just her mum and dad were one of the original members of our Buddhist society from the very early days. I still remember Ajahn Jacko doing the marriage service, which I also attended for your mum and dad. Unfortunately, her mother passed away. Was it early this year or was it end of last year? End of last year, yes. Time flies. And that is Damwong. You might hear him Thai, who often does the Sangatana chanting at big events. She also speaks Thai. Yes, good.
There's Moy. Moy here.
Oh, there's more, yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Moy. I'm an Indonesian, come from Indonesia. Been in Perth here for 7 years. Not born and bred in Perth, sorry. I'm an accountant right now, working full time at a public service firm. If I get the chance to support BSW, it will be a privilege because have another reasons to come more often and to cultivate good karma in my life, in my current life. Thank you so much.
Okay, so what we're going to this. It really is. I'm not that comfortable doing this myself, but the way we're going to do this is just really to raise a card for each candidate, and we'll just sort of see it. You've agreed the order? Yes, Eddie, of course you can.
To no offense to anybody, all right? Yeah. And Ajahn Brahm, you can't say it, but I think I can say it as a layperson. Yeah. In the past, we don't really have any Thai people in the committee, And the Thai people, they have done tremendous work for BSWA. The danas given to monks and nuns every day of the week, the weekend danas here, and the fundraising from the Thai people, okay? As I said, to no offense, it would be nice to have a Thai people in the committee.
Indonesians are also just given a lot to this monastery as well. I like them both.
Okay. So let's just see how many cards go up for first of all for Moy.
People can count them. You can only put one card up. Moy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Keep your hands up. Someone count. Who's counting them? $30. Is that right? How many? 20. Okay. Okay, please sit down.
So all those for fee.
Please stand up, V. You got all the Thai people voting for you. That's How many? Because afterwards, you've got some proxies to come afterwards. Proxy votes. $35. Is that right? 35? Okay, now what have you got for proxy votes?
There's only 5, so that's not really going to...
Oh,
proxies. So we can declare the sorry?
abstentions, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. But
Abstentions?
all right, yeah.
First up, 1 abstention, 2, 3, 4. 4 abstentions, 5, 4, 5, 6.
So I think we can say that Fee is going to be our assistant treasurer, and let me say that the committee have already decided, and though we talked about this the other night, but that we would like for Moy to come on as a committee member, assisting in the treasury as well. And I can assure you, ladies, that you'll have plenty of work to do. And welcome to everybody who has put their hand up to come onto the committee. It's a wonderful thing that you've done. So thank you very much for that. So there's only a couple of things more to go, but there is a special resolution that we need to... Stephen, would you like to talk about this, just to speak to it? Yeah. This has been a little bit of a complicated thing. I definitely think that the Buddhist Society is going about the right way with this. It's just that the model rules, I'll just give you my layman's kind of view of it first, if you like. The model rules talk about us needing to have a nominator for every member, for every new member. And that gets very complicated for us when memberships are coming from overseas. And it's not really possible to be able to check the nominators out, or the referees that we're asking for in this case to speak. But maybe I'll ask Stephen to round this out anyway.
Thank you, Dennis. So yes, like Dennis said, what the model rules introduced in 2019 is a requirement that every new member has to have a nomination from an existing member. In theory, that idea is to prevent the numbers from being stacked. There isn't any actual requirement for us to do that. Having this in place is actually creating quite a bit of a barrier for entry for new members. If you look at the financial statement for 2019, we had about 100,000, I believe, but let me just confirm that. In any case, I'll move on here. So I'm from the US. I used to sit on this other side of the camera here, so it's a little strange for me to be in this seat. But when I came to Perth, the largest reason for me to be here was because of the BSWA. If that wasn't possible for me to be a member, I wouldn't have bothered. I wouldn't be here. And I'm not alone. I mean, we have millions, thousands, don't know the number, but a huge amount globally that want to be part of the society. If we try to make a nomination requirement, there's just simply no way that we can continue to grow memberships. It's going to decline over time. There's a lot of administrative hours that go into trying to verify it. So Amanda, Lucky, myself, Nick would have to call up different members, prospective members, verify their status, and so on and so forth. There's just simply no good way to verify that they're a genuine member at that point. So what the proposal does is it removes the wording in Part 4, Rule 9, that a member must be nominated by, the application must include a member's nomination for the applicant for membership. It adds digital signatures, and it includes an online application form. The intent here is to allow more people globally to become members. As far as the model rules go, they prescribe a thing called Schedule 1 in the Associations Act. What that requires is for us to prescribe when and how someone becomes a member. It's completely silent as to whether or not you have to have a nominations process. There's often an argument that we need to continue having the model rules in place and not make any modification to them. However, we actually aren't using the model rules as it is. What we're using is our own modified set of rules based on a number of edits that have happened over the years. I believe those came in at 2019. And in my view, there's no reason that we cannot go forward with this change. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Does anyone want further clarification on that? Has anybody got any questions? Yes.
Is actually a natural person and not a fictitious person.
So in some ways you do have to take it on trust. What I would say is that there's no way to actually determine with a nomination that the person's legitimate either. You can spend 5 minutes trying to get to know someone, but there's no way to actually prove that they're a legitimate member, sort of having them scan over their passport and whatever else. People just aren't going to do that. So what the requirement is right now is we simply have a signature from the membership secretary and a nominator. That does nothing to guarantee that's actually a legitimate membership. It just adds administrative burden. There is potentially a risk that, yes, you could get a person at some point in the future that's going to sign up for this as a fraudulent membership. My response to that would be add a membership form that asks, are you genuinely a person? Are you trying to become a member of the Buddhist Society for nefarious intent or so on? If that's the case and you end up with this sticky situation, those memberships can be thrown out regardless.
Another one over here.
Question here.
Yes.
Would online memberships have full voting rights?
Currently they do. So full members are regardless of whether or not they are located in WA or not. In order to be a committee member, for example, you would need to have certain Australian checks. But right now, if someone were a full member, I'm not sure for this election or not whether we had any votes, but if you lived in the United States, Saudi Arabia, whatever, you actually already can vote at these AGMs. So yes.
Actually, my question relates to both questions raised by previous members. And does it still require the authorization by the spiritual director or the assistant spiritual director?
So the only change being proposed is just to the nominations. We're not changing the spiritual director as of the moment.
No. For the membership, at the moment, for the full membership, it is a requirement that the application must be authorized.
True. That's not prescribed by the Constitution, though. This is just about the nomination part of the form.
Nomination.
Or actually, I'm sorry.
So
we'll
it remains the same. What you are saying is it remains the same?
Right. And sorry, I'm retracting my last statement. I'll have to double check that about the spiritual director. However, what I am saying is this motion is only about the nomination.
Nomination for membership?
Yes.
But then how is the approval process?
How is the what, sorry?
Approval process.
So you could still have it, well, The approval process is it goes to the committee regardless for their verification and approval. We did this prior to 2019 regardless. You just submit the membership applications to the committee for the next meeting. The committee receives the list of new memberships and they vote whether or not to accept them. So it's not like you're just letting people become members without any checks at all.
There is, as alluded by the previous two members, there is an element of risk. I think probably it's neither here nor there, but I think the committee may have to be, I don't know what the word, be vigilant in looking at these applications. And Cecilia brought a very nice, very good point that there can be fraudulent members. So, yeah, but just trying to highlight the possible risk factors.
I appreciate it. What I'd probably say to that is we can distrust the outside world and close off memberships. Globally, there's a lot of people that don't have a Sangha, they don't have a local monk. What they do have, like me in America, was the BSWA online. It's in our charity's purpose to try to spread Buddhism. So if we're trying to be motivated by distrusting a potential fraudulent candidate 10 years down the line, instead of trusting that people are joining with genuine intent to become Buddhists, I would say that risk is worth it. And again, I don't think that having the nomination in place actually prevents or risk in the first place. So.
So just checking on if they want to vote from overseas or elsewhere, then still need a proxy vote, is that correct?
Probably looked unlucky for that one, but I believe that's the case. Yeah, overseas proxies, yeah.
Okay. That's all, I just want to clarify that as well.
Sure.
I'm just wondering about the relevance of having people who live in a foreign country voting on issues that affect us here. And I suppose the numbers probably don't provide a big problem at the moment, but if it becomes more and more widespread and people are all watching Ajahn Brahm online, we could get a lot of people in foreign countries. And I just think perhaps it's better if people who have not been seen here and who live abroad should be associate members and not full members.
Yeah, it's a fair point. What I would say so far is that's never been an issue. We've got members in 53, 56 countries already. We've never once encountered an issue where they've tried to push an agenda to overthrow the Buddhist society or anything like that. I do concede the point that your interests might be slightly different, whether you're online or offline, but speaking for myself, the connection to Buddhism is personal, whether it's online or offline. I cannot see members going against that. If it was enough for me to move across the globe to be closer to this, I have to imagine the vast majority of members would feel similarly.
I'd just like to ask if there are other ways that people can support BSWA with their financially, as well as with offers of support, apart from actually being members. In other words, how necessary is it that we are focusing on signing up more members when there are perhaps other vehicles for people to support the society, particularly overseas members?
Absolutely. So I would say Saul Hanna with the BMG has done an amazing job with that. He's already increased online revenue through things like Patreon on YouTube videos. So there are other avenues. Memberships are recurring each year. They're more or less a guaranteed form of income. So if we implement an online membership form combined with recurring subscriptions, it is a way to hedge against any future downturns. As to how necessary, well, given that we introduced this in 2019 and we saw a decrease in membership revenue of about $40,000, I'd say it is very much a requirement. Correlations and causation, right? But all I can say is that it does coincide with the implementation of the signature of the nomination requirement. So.
Sorry, associate membership. I think it's a better way to go. And also, if you refer to the revenue, I just from Boone, the analysis of the income, 2.2 million total income, 67,000 on the board I saw, membership income, which is less than 3%. So I think if it is a driving factor for this change, I think it's not worth considering it, because the risks are more greater than the benefit. It's for a matter of less than 3% income. We should not sacrifice the ability to control this organization. This organization has been the forefathers, like, you know, Dennis and Lynn and all that. This is a Thai, no, sorry, I'm sorry. This is a Theravada forest tradition organization. We should preserve that. So we should not expose it to unnecessary and undue risks. So therefore, I recommend to the AGM, don't vote for this.
There is an advantage for those people who are full members from overseas, which is they can come to our retreats. If you're an associate member, it's almost impossible to get in. Yeah.
I would also just like to comment, if you're speaking from a financial perspective, that's one thing. If you're speaking about what we're here for, which is the spreading the Lord Buddha's teachings, that's a whole nother. So that's probably another debate for another time. But
Stephen, I'm really happy that you have come to Australia. There are ways of spreading the Dharma, and the current ways that, yes, you can be a member from overseas through an accreditation process. My concern, like on the Federation, our concern is always foreign influence by, you know, there's a big phenomenon of foreign influence, and because there is no means of verifying that particular member, there's a bit of a concern.
that's very true. But again, what I would say is that having a nomination process in place doesn't actually offer you any guarantee against that as well. In reality, what that will often mean is a signature happens after a 2-minute phone call. That's not really enough to guarantee that the person isn't a foreign agent or whatever it might be. But what it does do is put someone like Lucky's signature against that person's name, saying that they put them forward as a member.
Dennis, I was just looking at it, and to me, it's something that should be done for nowadays, because there's not a membership of anything nowadays that I don't join online. And whether it's your insurance or whether it's a St Kilda football club, my beloved St Kilda, it's just the way it works now, and I just can't see the problem. I really can't see hordes of people wanting to join and bring the Buddhist Society of Western Australia down. I just think it's a pretty ordinary thing for nowadays, and it just should be done. Thank you.
Just another comment in favour of this ruling here, this change. I don't think changing this will affect how much we can control who comes in or out anyway. Already the committee has the option to accept or reject a proposal. Most of the time, if we do get overseas, it's someone either in the committee or connected to the committee also who is also approving it. So it's just the same thing twice in a sense. So I don't actually see it actually providing much extra protection for us actually having it. So let's just comment on that.
Thank you, Nick. I would also just reply, there's also been a number of other organizations in WA that made the same choice, adopted the model rules, but chose to withdraw it, same reasons.
I hope you don't think I'm paranoid, but I've been in a lot of committees, and it does actually happen that you get power groups who want to take over. And that's not so much a problem when they're all in the country. We are in a different age, and I'm all in favour of online everything. I do it myself. But I think there's an element of needing to keep control as well over what's going on. If it's simply a matter that people who live overseas and were not full members wouldn't be able to come to the retreats, I would have thought that was manageable. I think an overall view should really be keeping some kind of control of our membership. So I would be in favour of not making people full members if they're not here and you can't see who they are. I mean, in some organisations, a membership application has to be vetoed by the whole committee, not just by one person, so that if anybody knows anything about the proposed member, they can say. What happens overseas, we don't know. But I think there's potential here for it to get out of hand. And it might sound paranoid to think that I'm imagining swarms of enemies gathering around the globe, and I'm sure that's not true. But I think you can see that we might be able to manage the situation a bit more wisely and to make sure there isn't an unfortunate precedent set that we might regret later. I do think that people from overseas, there should be a way of getting their approval to attend retreats because they're only individuals and they're obviously not going to cause any harm. But I think possibly this might need a bit more thought.
Keep in mind, though, we do already actually accept overseas full members. Before 2019, this requirement wasn't in place, so we never ran into that issue. The other thing, too, all that happens ultimately is if someone wants to join the Buddhist Society, they'll submit a membership application online that will get mailed to the administrative office or Lucky, and they're putting their name to someone who they don't know. I don't think that's really a guarantee against it regardless, especially if the committee does have the power to refute it. I do see your point, though, and your concern.
Yeah. The final approval actually comes once it's submitted to the committee, and full members are those people who have taken the commitment to lead their life abiding by the 5 precepts. So that's where we make a difference between associates are people who support Buddhist society, but they are not practicing, they need not be practicing Buddhist. To be called a practicing Buddhist, they have to take the 5 precepts, where the application is endorsed by Ajahn Brahm, or they take the commitment to send us with an email, we take that word, they have taken the precepts, okay, we will approve them. Submit to the committee for approval. It's the whole committee that approves the application. It's not one person. And again, this year's revenue was really based on the COVID pandemic. That brought us down a lot, the membership. They personally wrote to us and said how much they are affected, especially from USA, where we had nearly 200 members. This time it has come down to about 98. It just shows how much they felt for us, but they just couldn't afford the $50. But at the same time, there were a lot of people who are joining as new members. That showed that they wanted this Dhamma. And they, in their emails, they said, we want to be part of this great community who has helped us, especially during this time of this pandemic, and mainly from USA. I'd like to say that just to support what Stephen is bringing up for this resolution.
Thank you, Lucky.
And Lucky, would you also like to just mention the idea that you've got too? I don't know just how quickly this is going to be implemented, but the idea of having an image of them, a film of them, and especially for Visakha Day, when we do accept nominations for overseas, and we have a big ceremony here for people that are not familiar with Ajahn Brahm here. Very beautiful it is, very beautiful ceremony where people are accepted as ordinary members with Ajahn Brahm's blessing. They all get a certificate. They they're read out here. And I think what Lucky's got in mind is to have a visual image or even a connection to them while that's going on. So I don't know if you want to add more to that, Lucky, or if I've got that right or not. But
yeah. This year, the Vesak ceremony is different. We will have a Zoom online connection. It's all organized by Jake Mitra, who's heading our AV team, and each individual will participate with us online, but we will see them on screen. And it makes them feel they are part of this great community, which they always keep asking, when can we become members? We want to share our gratitude with these teachers, especially Ajahn Brahm. That's the only way we can contribute. We can't afford to give big donations, but we want to be part of this community. So that's how much important it is, mainly for the members from 52 countries like Israel, UAE, and Poland, Russia. Our membership expands right across the world. At least to have one member from Siberia is so great. This year, that's the latest addition. So all this is thanks to the Dhamma, the teaching, and the IT team, and the rest of all the volunteers.
And just also, thank you, Lucky. I think also we need to see that these members, these overseas members are, well, as Lucky says, they're wanting to be part of this organisation. This ceremony, if you'd see this ceremony each Visakha day, the way that it works, it's really quite moving to see these people from overseas take the 5 precepts. And you can only vote here at an AGM if you are an ordinary member. You must, so the way that it works is that we'll get the committee every month. We get all the new members that are coming. They're all named. They're all every meeting that we hear the name of every one of them. Lucky recommends or proposes that they be accepted. The committee then look at them and accept them. If there was a particularly big group of people that maybe we were a bit suspicious about, we would see that very easily, I think. But then the next thing that happens is for those people that are joining and they want to be ordinary members, well then they do get an interaction with a senior monk, with Ajahn Brahm especially. So there is, whilst it doesn't rule out every kind of problem that might come up, I just don't see that this is really a big issue for us to worry about. But it is a big issue to see the extra work and the trouble that it goes to, that we all have to go to make sure that these nominations are done according to the model rules.
Just, can I say something?
Just to clarify, we do actually have an online application already. This is just adding the wording to it. So that's been in place for many years.
Okay, well, I think we oh, sorry, Jake.
Sorry, this is dragged on a bit. I'll try and be as quick as I can. I want to share a personal experience. The intention of this proposal is very good. It's coming from a good place, rather. but it can have disastrous consequences, and I experienced this myself. And Boone will back me up on this story with the Buddhist Council. When we have people joining in, we want to welcome them. We are really happy about this, another Buddhist. But one person can make a big, big difference. And speaking about the popularity of Ajahn Brahm, I shouldn't mention anyone actually, that in itself can be a great problem. What we have found is that some people are jealous of the success of other monks, and they come in with a vengeance. And once you get a bad apple in, it's very hard to get rid of them. And the second thing is a 2-minute interview shouldn't be dispensed with. It's actually, you'd be surprised in 2 minutes you can find out a lot about a person, and you can certainly start to see a pattern evolve as well. So I think we should try and have as many international members as possible, bring as many people into the Dharma as possible, but we also have to be very careful. And this is from personal experience I wanted to share.
Okay, well, I think we've probably had enough.
Manal has a question. Sorry, just been waiting for a minute.
One more?
Yeah.
One more.
Just want to address what Ananda mentioned. It's about this having a valid, real-life person on the other end of the world. Now, I know in the internet there are tools, there are apps in a website that can actually check whether that person is actually a real person or just a machine or robot or something like that. And that can be done if we need to, that we can actually apply to. But with regard to this is not related to our experience with having someone who can manipulate things quite easily to change things towards whatever agenda they have. And unfortunately, I just want to mention this. I'm quite aware of there are a few organizations here that have been infiltrated for other various reasons.
Actually, I've just been, do you want to, Nattering, do you want to?
Personally, I think it's worth taking the risk of changing this, because one of the biggest problems here is our executive, our workers are just working so hard. They're all getting quite burnt out. And also I'd just like to think that the risk is there, but I think we have so many other members, and local members we trust, and are here. It's very hard to take over this Buddhist society when there's so many full members already. If there's a small number of members, like in the Buddhist Council of Western Australia, it's easy to take it over. But if it's a big organisation like the BSWA, it's so difficult to get. You've got 1,400 members, full members, is that the case, Lucky? 1,500 full members. You've got to get another 1,500 members to outvote us. So I don't think it's really worth it. And I really want to try and make things open for everybody from overseas. Now that's personal, but please don't follow me. If you want to vote against it, please vote against it.
I just want to clarify. I think we're just removing a clause that says we need somebody to be nominated. We are just reverting back to the old form, which there was no nomination. So right now we get people coming to the library who want to become a member. We don't even know that person, but we sign for them to say they're going to be nominated. It's up to the committee to decide whether they accept it or not. So it's going back, it's just removing that clause that we don't have to sign it, and the committee decides. But Ajahn Brahm still has to sign for a full member. They still have to take the 5 precepts, whether they're online or not. One of the senior monks has to still do that. So that's not changing. It's only that one clause that needs to be taken out, that's all.
Okay, so I think we're ready to make a vote on this, isn't it? So can I see some red cards, please, for those that are in favour of changing the constitution as discussed?
Could you please help the count?
I don't know who's doing the counting. This is important because we need to have at least 75% of the meeting. Are we done, Stephen?
Yeah, just still got other people counting.
Okay, we're just going to verify the count.
How many is that? 49.
49.
Okay.
So those against?
We have 7.
1. Who's against? 1 over there. 2.
And abstentions? Okay. So I think with that count, I'm correct in saying, Stephen, just looking for your wise advice again, that this motion is carried. Thank you very much for that, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the discussion too. And it's obviously something that we probably will need to make sure that we keep an eye on. The committee can keep an eye on that. But yeah, I feel that the membership is really a very important part of our committee meetings, and I'm sure that between the lay community and the Sangha, we will sort of keep an eye on all of that. But I am quite pleased that that motion has passed. So moving on to the next item of business, which is the
questions which you notice.
Yeah, I've just been asked to wait for a tick.
Quite a few people left.
Yeah, we've had quite a few people.
Yes.
So unless we have a full count of everyone
Yes.
who's here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not the president, Dennis.
What?
You're not the president, Hock Chin is.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not the president anymore. So,
oh yeah. No, it's the abstentions and the against. There's 3 against. I think we counted 7 abstentions. That's 10. So it's 49 against 10. That's easily 75%.
okay, so Hock Chin, are you happy if we? I mean, it is the president's call. Are you happy to stand with me here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was 75. It's 49 for proposal, 3 noes, 7 abstentions.
So Dennis is president till the end of the meeting. The Constitution is clear on that. There were 49 in favour. I just looked over at the table and said, count the proxies and then work out the percentage. And then you've said some people have left the room. So the president sitting there has to make the call on what the accurate percentage is.
Well, I think the accurate percentage definitely is, we have the 75%, don't we? We definitely do have that.
49 out of 59.
Yes.
Oh, it's about 80%, yeah.
Okay, so, well, I'll make the presidential call that the motion is passed. So moving on to item number 6, questions with due notice. Have we got any of that?
No questions were submitted, so we haven't got any.
Questions without notice, item 7, questions without notice. Yes?
The meeting, but something that Dennis, I just want to find out either from Natalie or Boone, is there a formal delegation of authority in place?
Delegation of authority?
Delegation of authority?
For what?
For spending, Ajahn. Say for instance, like if there is an expenditure item of say over $100,000, and say for like, I think it's a requirement, organization is growing.
Yes,
Therefore,
we do that.
Yeah, we definitely have that.
You do?
Yeah, we definitely got all that in place.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Then,
indeed. Even for monastery, I can't spend 400,000. I've got to ask the committee. Even if I might raise it, I still have to ask the committee to spend it.
There's actually all of the financial policies and procedures are in place, exactly as the ACNC requires them to be. Okay, so questions without notice. So any general business at all that we've got? Yeah?
So, sorry, I'm repeating myself here. We also have to put forward a proposal for the auditors for the coming year. Dry Kirkness was the one that's been doing it the past few years. That could be a proposal that you'd like to move to use Dry Kirkness as your auditor.
So, Natalie, would you like to move that? Move that. So it's moved that Dry Kirkness be the auditor for the coming year. And then I know that there was a bit of a conversation last year about this too, just whether or not we need to, whether we should change the auditor. But I think it would probably make sense to keep the same auditor for the coming year. And if we are going to, if the committee do decide that we need a new, that we do need to change the auditor, it's probably something that we need to consider earlier on in the piece. So that's probably something that Hotchin and the new committee can look towards to get ready for the next AGM. But it probably makes sense just to follow through with that proposal that Dry Kirkness be the auditor for next year. And that's going to be moved by Natalie, the Treasurer, seconded by Bill Prince. So, Adjo Bravo approves. All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? Any abstentions? So that motion has been passed. So no other general business? Nick?
Could I just ask the new committee to stay after the meeting for the committee photo?
Very good. And also the new committee might want to make arrangements for the first committee meeting. So, without further ado, I'll now call the meeting closed at 25 minutes to 7. So, thank you very much for your attendance, ladies and gentlemen. And
you can now do the Ahang Sammasam Buddha.
Yes.
Please don't talk to me because I've got to rush off to another meeting.